Alright, well, as the video suggests, we're going to be putting a set of imitation Seymour Duncans in this imitation Gibson Les Paul. This is an Aldo Nova model. This is not to be confused with the one that I have a video of on the channel. That's a phenomenal guitar, which is also going to get pickups, likely real live Seymour Duncans. This is a cheaper version of that guitar, and I only say cheaper because it's not as well made. The hardware is much cheaper, knobs, etc., and obviously the electronics. The pickups in these, while they're microphonic like most Chibsons, they sound thin and shrilly. And I'll give you a real quick just sound bite. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in these eBay specials here, these fake, even though they say Seymour Duncan on them, and they say made in America, they're actually a heavy piece. They're just a cheap knockoff from the same motherland as our Chibson. And it's a whole set, comes with a set of 5K pots and a 3-way switch. So we're going to put the whole thing in there. We're going to see if we can just liven this little beater guitar up a bit. If we can get it to sound halfway decent, then I'll probably upgrade the hardware on it, put a little bit different set of knobs. Those knobs are just too bright, in my opinion. And we'll give it a makeover, so to speak. All right, here we go. Here's a real quick example of how these pickups sound. Now I'm just running them through the Boss Katana, and I've actually even have it wireless hooked up, but it sounds just as bad corded. Tone all the way up, volume on about 4, because beyond that it starts getting real microphonic. Haven't tuned it or anything since I'm going to take it apart, but so there you go. As soon as you turn it up to about 7, that's what you get. Real just thin sounding, and we'll do a comparison, but it's just not a good sounding guitar at all. That's just a quick example. Let's tear this thing apart, see if we can make it sound at least halfway decent. We just had a crazy rainstorm blow through here. Baby pots. Wow. I sometimes think, in terms of price and investment, and I know some of the companies do, but they'd be better off selling these guitars as an empty shell. Spend a little bit more time on the finish and the materials, and just leave the electronics to the end user. But whatever, it is what it is. It is what it is, and those are junk. Okay, take 8. Yeah, it was a gorgeous sunny day out, and I took a ride over to Mom and Dad's. They were having garage door issues, so I was messing around with that, and down came the rain. Well, surprise, surprise, we've actually only got one fret that's given us a little bit of an issue. It's definitely higher. I'm going to take just a smidge off of that. And then I'm going to block the entire fretboard. I'll tape it off and block the entire thing, but I don't think it's going to take a lot. I just like to hit them with Sharpie first, which I have done. Good. Didn't take much at all. And what I'll do is I'll hit all of these with Sharpie then. And then I'll just level the whole fretboard. Very, very fine sandpaper. I shouldn't even say level. I'll clean up the frets. Alright, well, I'm just going to hit this with my leveling block. Ordinarily, I would tape up the fretboard and everything else. Again, this is just a cheap guitar. Surprisingly, so what I do is cover the frets with Sharpie. Surprisingly, these frets need to be dressed too, because they're actually fairly rough. And that'll get the schmutz off of the fretboard, and it'll finish cleaning up those frets. And we'll get the rest of the Sharpie off of there as well. It's good for getting just the crud off of the fretboard. And also gives those frets a nice shine. Looking good. Smith Pro Formula. No relation. Alright, then I just take my microfiber cloth and just wipe away the residue. Look at all the crap on that fretboard though. Yeah, those frets look really good. And you'd never even know that I, filed one of them. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe that one. Very small adjustment. And then my final step for the fretboard, and then we'll move on to the pickups, is I like to oil the fretboard. I use this F1 oil. Cleans, conditions, and protects. 100% natural oils. Petroleum and wax-free. This is from Music Nomad. I've been using this for a few years. I'm pretty happy with the results I get. And usually what I do is just what I did there. Just put a liberal amount on there. Dab it in. And then in this case, because it seems fairly dry, I'm going to give it 5 minutes and just let it soak in there. All right, well, we've let that set in for about 5 minutes, and yeah, it's actually taken in quite a bit of the oil. So that was fairly dry. And then we're just going to work it in to the fretboard. And you can, I can see, maybe you guys can see too on camera. First of all, how much brighter the frets are. They almost have like a gold tint to them, probably from the journey over. A little bit of maybe rust or atmosphere on there. But secondly, you can see how much darker the fretboard is now. It just really enriches that that wood. That's actually that's a good looking fretboard right there. While I was waiting, I did tweak the truss rod. I just loosened it up about 1/8 of a turn. I'm going to loosen that up just a hair more. All right. Frets are done, fretboard is done. The truss rod is tweaked. It's onto our Seymour Duncans. Yeah, you can tell you've come to that age when you have to put glasses on to do your wiring. Well, my apologies, because I got working away there and I didn't realize that the memory card had filled up and shut the camera off. And ain't that the way it goes? So here's what I did just to wrap it up. I'm not exactly sure where we even left off. Anyway, I strung it back up. I strung it with a set of 9 super slinky 9s. I'm always on the fence about that. Usually I do 9s on a Les Paul, 10s on a Strat. But anyway, I made a final adjustment to the truss rod just because the neck was a little bit off. So I just tweaked that a little bit more. Set my pickup height to where I wanted to, then also set my action on the strings using a gauge to do that. And other than knobs, which I'm waiting for them, they'll come in the mail later on today, this is just about done. I've tuned it, double checked the intonation, made a couple of small adjustments on that. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I mean, this is what I would call a lower quality Chibson. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out though. The neck looks good, the frets look good, it feels good. All of the adjustments came into spec. So I'm pretty happy with it. I got my notes this will go on the, obviously inside. Fake Les Paul with fake Seymour Duncan pickups, the date, Epiphone wiring, 500K pots, blah, blah, blah. That's about it. So the only thing left to do is play it for you guys. And what I think I'll do is I'll tune up my white Davison Les Paul real quick, because that has the exact same set of pickups, except that they are really Seymour Duncans. So we'll see what these sound like. As long as these aren't microphonic, then they certainly are a very inexpensive alternative to the garbage Chibson pickups that come on these guitars. And I'll be reasonably pleased with that. This is, again, a cheap one. I decided to put these pickups in this guitar because it's cheap. I didn't want to put them in the other Aldo guitar because that's a super nice guitar. It deserves better pickups. So let's plug this thing in and just let's get a quick sound comparison. Now off camera, I went up and down the neck a bunch of times. I can't find any buzzing, any dead frets. I usually will, go through each individual string, up, down, and then I start bending each string, because you're looking for a note that's going to fade out or that's going to buzz right, buzz dead. I could not find any. So again, real pleased with the way this came out. Again, you're talking about a little bit of effort, maybe 2 hours worth of work, start to finish. Well worth it as far as I'm concerned. To turn a cheap guitar into something virtually unplayable to actually a nice playing, decent guitar. This will be a nice little serviceable guitar for somebody. All right, enough chit chat. Let's plug this thing in and we'll see what it sounds like. We're just going to plug it in, exact same settings, and see what we get. Yeah, it rings nice. Not again. It doesn't have the sound that my nice Aldo Chibson has, but it sounds adequate. The infamous G string. All right. Well, for the sake of arguing, we're gonna go with what it does until we can stretch these strings out. Bridge pickup, tone all the way up. All the volume is up right now. All the tone is up. No microphonics. Super happy about that. Hand off the strings. Probably shouldn't be doing. I should. So. I'm not trying to bug everybody's ears out, just trying to listen to a couple of things. Much better. Maybe a little bit tinnier than I would like to hear. Let's try middle. Let's volume all the way up. And neck pickup. terrible. What I would like to hear more, I'd like a little more bass in the neck pickup. And obviously, to my ears, that sounds a little bit better, just rolling off the tone a little bit. So here's my thoughts on it. I like the wiring harness. The fact that it was an Epiphone harness is just fine by me, especially when it's going into Chibson. They are certainly a reasonable, inexpensive alternative to the Chibson pickups, which are notoriously microphonic and unplayable. To my ears, it sounds, again, you could adjust the amp, you could do a lot. They have decent output to them, decent sound. They definitely don't sound like a Seymour Duncan, I can tell you that. And we'll, just for comparison's sake, let me get the white Davison. Well, maybe it is the amp. Maybe it is the amp setup. Maybe I'm going to eat my words. It just... That's the neck pickup. Excuse the tuning. I'm just banging out some chords there because I'm curious. Yeah, these definitely sound better to my ears. Initially I was like, alright, it's close. The fake ones are definitely a little more shrilly. They don't have quite the output that these pickups have. But again, is it a reasonable alternative for a Chibson? Absolutely. They are not Seymour Duncans, so it's no surprise that they don't sound quite like Seymour Duncans. In terms of price point, I can't argue with these. They look good in the guitar. I wish they didn't say Seymour Duncan on them because that's stupid. But then again, I wish the guitar didn't say Gibson on it. So we're just going to wrap this up. Not a bad $200 guitar. With the pickups and the wiring I have, and knobs, I have under $300 in this guitar, and I'm real happy with the way it plays. The sound is meh. So is the tuning. You know, this is a great beater guitar, something you could grab and head over to a buddy's house and jam. Or it's a great, you know, beginner guitar for somebody. It has decent sound. I'm sure tweaking the amp, you could get a real satisfactory sound out of this. And again, under $300, and it's kind of unique because it is a, you know, an Aldo copy. Let me just give you a final price. Here's my final wrap up on this guitar. This Aldo guitar, I have 5 of them in the Sunburst. I have 3 in black and gold, and then I have 2 in white. And the reason I have 10 of these guitars is I'm going to be giving some away. I'm also going to be donating some to music programs. This was kind of an experiment with Alibaba and with cheap guitars, and difference in quality in Chibsons. You know, $200 guitars opposed to $300 guitars, opposed to different builders, etc., etc. It's just be kind of a personal experience I've been going through with Chibsons, just out of curiosity. I know it's a hotbed topic, but anyway, getting back to this one, the Seymour Duncan pickups. Seymour Duncan, you know, that's how they're advertised on eBay. They're not Seymour Duncans. We know this. They're also not Seymour Junkins. They're somewhere in between. For this $200 guitar, so this setup, you got to do the YouTube pickup point. For these 2 pickups, and the wiring, the 4 500K pots, the jack, the 3-way switch, which turned out to be Epiphone wiring, $56 with tax. So rounded up to $60. The guitar was $210, I think they were. For $270, roughly. Again, under $300. This is now still a cheap guitar. Still not worth much more than the $300, but it's a solid playing guitar and a decent sounding guitar. And all we did was spend a little bit of time dressing the neck, addressing the frets, putting in the cheap pickups, and we ordered some knobs for it. Other than that, everything else is the same. I didn't change the tailpiece or the bridge. I didn't feel that was necessary. The intonation is dead on. You guys do, you know, you take the information and do with it what you will. Now, I understand that not everybody is going to pull these guitars apart and put pickups in. You should be forewarned that pretty much on just about any level of Chibson guitar in the $200 to $300 range, you are going to have to replace the pickups. I have yet to find one that has decent pickups. In fact, even my Davison guitars, which were they're still, you know, probably made in China, but they're a well-built Les Paul guitar. In fact, the 2 I have, one I've had for over 20 years, one is about 12 or 14 years old. Those early ones are a well-built guitar. But even those, the pickups were crap in them. Pulled them out, put Seymour Duncans in them. So you are going to have to do that. Overall, my opinion is, if you're looking for, you know, if you're looking to keep a budget in mind but getting a little bit better pickup, those are a great alternative. If you go on eBay, just search them out. I was putting in Seymour Duncan humbucker, and you'll see all the 100+ Seymour Duncans, which are the actual pickups, and then you'll see the $50 ones. And these come in a ton of different configurations. You can buy these, you know, black and white zebra, black, gold, chrome, just the pickups, pickups with the wiring harness, pickups with push-pull pot harnesses, any number of different configurations these sellers sell them in, and they're super reasonable. So again, would I put these $50 pickups in a $2,000 Gibson? Absolutely not. Truth be told, I wouldn't put these $50 pickups in one of my higher end or my higher quality Chibsons. The Les Paul Custom and the Aldo Nova Chibsons that I bought recently that are much higher quality than this will get. I'll put Seymour Duncans in them because those are a really nice guitar. They deserve a really nice pickup. To be honest with you, I may just go with the Epiphone wiring. I'll have to say, I like the... There's a couple of companies out there to make some real nice wiring, but I don't like to have... part of the reason that I buy cheap guitars, Mexican Stratocasters, Chinese-built Les Pauls, off-brand Telecasters, you know, Jackson Dinkies. I like budget guitars. I'm not a musician. I can't justify spending thousands of dollars on one guitar. It doesn't make sense to me. But because I'm a fan of guitars and different guitars, I can justify spending, you know, a few $1,000s on my entire collection of guitars. So that's going to do it for this. Super happy with the way this came out. Love the way the neck looks. Nice and dark. The frets are nice and shiny. No dead frets. The action is set right where it should be. No buzzing. Yeah. That's going to do it for this. Let me stop the chit chat now. This is a not Les Paul. It's a Chibson. It's an Aldo version. These are not Seymour Duncan pickups, despite saying that, but they are cheap. You're looking at an under $300 guitar package here. Do with it what you will, people. I'm Smitty. I'm out. There you go. Much better.